Let's face it, folks, we live in a world of spin. Every day we're bombarded with information from all directions. News channels, social media, advertisements. They all compete for our attention, trying to shape our perceptions and opinions. Public relations, marketing, political campaigns. Everyone's trying to influence what we think and how we act. These efforts are often out in the open with clear intentions to sway our choices, whether it's buying a product or voting for a candidate. But there's a darker side to persuasion, and it's called psychological operations, or Psyops for short. Unlike traditional marketing or PR, Psyops operate in the shadows, using covert tactics to manipulate our thoughts and behaviors without us even realizing it. Psyops are like the sneaky cousin of advertising. They use psychological tactics to mess with your head, not to sell you a product, but to change your beliefs and actions. These operations can be subtle, like planting a seed of doubt, or more overt, like spreading disinformation to create confusion and chaos. We're talking about manipulating emotions, spreading propaganda, and straight-up messing with information to control the narrative. Psyops can target individuals, groups, or entire populations, aiming to influence their perceptions and decisions in ways that benefit the operators. Think of it like this. If regular persuasion is a friendly nudge, Psyops are a full-on Jedi mind trick, and you probably won't even know it's happening. These operations can be so sophisticated and well-crafted that the target remains unaware of the manipulation. Governments and other powerful groups use Psyops to influence everything from public opinion to the outcomes of wars. These operations can be part of a larger strategy to destabilize a region, undermine an adversary, or consolidate power. So buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the world of psychological warfare where nothing is as it seems and the battleground is your mind. We'll explore the history, techniques, and real-world examples of Psyops, revealing how these covert operations shape our world in ways we might never have imagined. Now, you might think Psyops are some newfangled invention of the internet age, but the truth is, humans have been messing with each other's minds since the dawn of time. Remember the Trojan horse, classic Psyop. But things really kicked into high gear in the 20th century. The Nazis were masters of propaganda, using radio, film, and posters to demonize their enemies and convince their citizens that they were the good guys. Then came the Cold War, a decades-long Psyops showdown between the United States and the Soviet Union. Both sides pumped out propaganda, planted fake news stories, and even tried to infiltrate each other's media to control the narrative. The Cold War may be over, but the tactics haven't gone anywhere. In fact, they've just gotten more sophisticated, and with the rise of new technologies, the battlefield has moved online, where it's harder than ever to tell what's real and what's not. Let's talk about the media, shall we? Newspapers, TV, radio, the internet. These are the channels through which information flows, shaping what we know and how we see the world. But here's the catch. Whoever controls the media controls the message. And that's where Psyops come in. By influencing the media, governments and other groups can control the narrative, shaping public opinion and steering us towards their desired outcome. Think about it. A carefully placed news story can make you fear a certain group. A biased report can turn you against a political opponent. And a viral social media campaign can convince you to support a cause you know little about. The media can be a powerful tool for good, but it can also be weaponized to manipulate and deceive. And in the wrong hands, it can turn us against each other, erode our trust in institutions, and undermine the very fabric of our society. Now, some folks might say, come on, John, are you suggesting that our own government would use the media to lie to us? It sounds like the stuff of conspiracy theories, right? But let's take a moment to really think about it. The media is a powerful tool, capable of shaping public opinion, influencing decisions, and even altering the course of history. So, is it really that far-fetched to believe that those in power might want to control it? Well, my friends, I hate to break it to you, but it's happened before. And not just once or twice, but multiple times throughout history. Governments around the world have long recognized the power of the media and have sought to harness it for their own ends. From propaganda campaigns during wartime to the subtle shaping of narratives in peacetime, the media has often been a battleground for truth and manipulation. And the case of Operation Mockingbird is a prime example. This wasn't just a minor incident or a footnote in history. It was a large-scale, covert operation that involved some of the most respected journalists and major news outlets of the time. The CIA didn't just dabble in media manipulation. They went all in, creating a network of assets and allies within the press to ensure their version of events was the one that reached the public. Back in the good old days of the Cold War, the CIA got real cozy with the media. The stakes were high, and the battle for hearts and minds was just as important as any physical confrontation. The agency understood that controlling the narrative was crucial, and they were willing to go to great lengths to achieve that control. We're talking about secretly recruiting journalists, planting stories in newspapers, and even setting up entire news organizations to spread propaganda and manipulate public opinion. These weren't just small-time reporters or fringe publications. They were some of the most influential voices in the media landscape. The CIA's reach was extensive and their influence was profound, even setting up entire news organizations to spread propaganda and manipulate public opinion. Imagine turning on your TV or opening your newspaper, thinking you're getting unbiased news, only to find out later that it was all part of a carefully crafted narrative designed to sway your thoughts and opinions. It's a chilling thought, but it's one that we need to confront if we're to understand the true power of the media. This wasn't just some small-time operation either. The scale and scope of Operation Mockingbird was staggering. We're talking about major news outlets, respected journalists, and a level of coordination that required significant resources and planning. The CIA wasn't just influencing the news, they were shaping the very fabric of public perception. We're talking about major news outlets, respected journalists, all secretly working with the CIA to spin the news in favor of the US government. This wasn't just about promoting a particular viewpoint, it was about controlling the narrative, ensuring that the public saw the world through a lens that suited the agency's goals. All secretly working with the CIA to spin the news in favor of the US government. The implications of this are profound. When the media, which is supposed to be a watchdog for democracy, becomes a tool for propaganda, the very foundations of our society are at risk. It's not just about misinformation, it's about the erosion of trust and the manipulation of reality. It was like something out of a spy thriller, except it was real life. The intrigue, the covert operations, the manipulation, it all sounds like the plot of a Hollywood movie, but it was happening in the real world with real consequences. The lines between truth and fiction were blurred, and the public was left in the dark. Operation Mockingbird is a stark reminder that, even in a democracy, the powers that be can't always be trusted. It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked power and the importance of a free and independent press. When the media is compromised, so too is our ability to make informed decisions and hold those in power accountable. And when the media becomes a tool for propaganda, it's not just our minds that are at risk. The very essence of our democracy is threatened. A free press is essential for a healthy society, and when that freedom is undermined, the consequences can be dire. It's not just our minds that are at risk, it's the very foundations of our free society. The ability to access truthful, unbiased information is a cornerstone of democracy. Without it, we are left vulnerable to manipulation and control. It's the very foundations of our free society. We must remain vigilant and demand transparency and accountability from both our government and our media. Only then can we ensure that the truth remains at the forefront and that our democracy remains strong and resilient. Hold on to your hats, folks, because things are about to get really wild. We're diving into the world of psychological operations, or Psyops, in the age of information. This isn't just about military tactics anymore. It's about how information is used to influence, manipulate, and control the masses. In the digital age, the battleground for our minds has shifted online. Every click, every like, every share is a potential weapon in the information wars. Social media platforms have become the new front lines, where battles for influence and control are fought every second of every day. The internet, social media, and the 24/7 news cycle have created a perfect storm for misinformation and manipulation. News travels faster than ever before, and with it, the potential for spreading false information has increased exponentially. It's a double-edged sword, offering both unprecedented access to information and unparalleled opportunities for deception. Remember how we talked about the media being a powerful tool for psyops? Traditional media like TV and newspapers have always been used to shape public opinion, but now, with the internet, the reach and impact of these operations have grown exponentially. Well, amplify that by 1,000 with the internet. The digital landscape is vast and ever-changing, making it the perfect environment for psyops to thrive. Information can be disseminated to millions in a matter of seconds, and the effects can be immediate and far-reaching. Now, anyone with a smartphone and an internet connection can become a soldier in the information wars. From influencers to everyday users, everyone has the power to shape narratives and influence opinions. It's a democratization of influence, but it also means that misinformation can spread more easily. Think about it. Social media algorithms feed you content based on your interests, creating echo chambers where you only see information that confirms your existing biases. This can lead to a distorted view of reality where opposing viewpoints are drowned out and critical thinking is stifled. These echo chambers can be incredibly polarizing, driving wedges between different groups and creating an us versus them mentality. It's a breeding ground for conflict and division, and it's all happening right under our noses. Fake news spreads like wildfire, often disguised as legitimate news articles from reputable sources. It's designed to deceive, to manipulate, and to control, and once it's out there, it's incredibly difficult to contain. These fake news articles can look incredibly convincing, making it hard for the average person to distinguish between what's real and what's not. This blurring of the lines between fact and fiction is a key tactic in modern psyops. And targeted advertising can be used to manipulate your emotions and influence your voting behavior. By tailoring ads to your specific interests and vulnerabilities, psyops can subtly steer you towards certain beliefs and actions without you even realizing it. The digital age has given rise to a new breed of psyops, one that's faster, more pervasive, and arguably even more dangerous than anything we've seen before. Cyber warfare, data breaches, and digital espionage are all part of this new landscape. This new breed of psyops operates at lightning speed, with information spreading across the globe in an instant. The sheer volume of data and the speed at which it moves make it incredibly difficult to keep up with, let alone control, and arguably even more dangerous than anything we've seen before. And the worst part, it's happening right under our noses, often without us even realizing it. The subtlety and sophistication of these operations make them incredibly hard to detect and even harder to counter. It's happening right under our noses, often without us even realizing it. We're being influenced and manipulated in ways we can't even see, and the consequences can be profound, often without us even realizing it. So the next time you scroll through your social media feed or click on a news article, remember, in the age of information, the battle for your mind is always being fought.